2021 jab rollout, we now see a massive spike, nearly 3 times the usual maternal mortality.
2020 was less dying than all the other years. Then comes 2021, the blue one, and look at the massive spike in dying in almost every single age group. And every year after that, once again, more people are dying, folks, since the rollout of the jabs.
It's happening everywhere. We sound like a broken record, but it's important for people to see that this is a uniform pattern across every country. Okay, Malaysia. I have worked in Malaysia. I have friends in Malaysia, so I took an interest in Malaysia. They have quite good data. This is a similar pattern, a similar plot to what we showed for Macau. And the key takeaway is that their deaths, 2020, they had 4% fewer deaths than normal. So their deaths went down, meaning people weren't dying. First year of the pandemic, advertising 24/7 how many people are dying, yet they weren't dying. They were normal deaths that were being hyped by the media. And in 2021, they had a 35% increase in deaths after their rollout of COVID-19 vaccines. It dropped in 2022 and 23, but rising again. But 2025 so far stable. I don't have complete data for Malaysia, but still there's the step increase that is not recovered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
friends, can we go back to that for one more moment? Yeah,
Yes.
just again, learning how for folks to look at this. The lines on the bottom, the 3 lower lines, the 3 years with the lowest dying are 2018, 2019, 2020. The blue line, 2021, look at the spike that happens with the rollout of the jabs. But then what you see again is every year from there on is the higher lines on the curve. So again, the dying keeps going since the rollout of the jabs.
Yes. Okay, Malaysia registered births. Now, Malaysia still has a young population. They should not be having plummeting births to this extent. Yes, we expect downward trending with social pressures, but their births are falling off the chart.
Yeah, and the same pattern again. The years pre-injections are the higher birth rates all through the year, but the years post-injection are the lower birth rates all through the year. Just like more people keep dying, less people being born again.
Yeah, so when we look at the births, their births had been declining. 2021 was a 6.5% decline. 22, it got a bit better, 3.8% decline. Some recovery in 2023, it went up by 7.7%, but 2024, 2025, their births are dramatically decreasing. Now, for me, that would indicate that there is cumulative harm that has probably reached a critical point in terms of the damage to ovaries and ability to bear children, to conceive and bear children.
And Sally, when you say, sometimes during the last years, you say, oh, well, and this year it went up a little bit. But again, it never went back. Like it's always less than it was before the injections, less birth. So, between those years, maybe up and down a little bit, but it's consistently down since the injections.
Correct. And it seems to be getting worse. It seems to be getting worse. We're seeing accelerated drops in fertility or fecundity, which is the ability to bear a child to live birth. Okay, so this is their monthly vital statistics with the COVID vaccine uptake. So on the right is new COVID vaccine doses. On the left is births and deaths. So we see the start of rollout. This is the vaccine dosing. As the vaccine dosing went up, the deaths exactly matched the rise. And by this point, you start boosters coming in. So there's some second dosing and boosters coming in. First booster, you see a spike in deaths. Second booster, you see some more spiky deaths, and the deaths remain above prior levels. So this is shocking.
And what's shocking too, is that this data should have resulted in immediate removal of the product from the market. 1976, I think it was 12 deaths and a vaccine was pulled from the American market. But here you have thousands of deaths and they keep pushing the jab despite that.
Yes, so it's not willful blindness. I think it's criminal. There's criminal intent behind this,
Yeah.
and there's been people ordered to not speak out. This data should have been apparent by the middle of 2021,
Yeah.
and yet nothing was done.
Yeah.
So there must be some massive level of coercion and silencing going on for this data to have been ignored.
Yeah. Yeah. Leading sheep to slaughter, sadly.
Lemmings over the cliff.
Yeah.
Okay, so monthly births and deaths, 25% drop in births since 2018 and an 11% rise in deaths.
And look at that, 2021, almost 35%
34%,
increase in
yeah.
death. That is
Yes,
unheard of.
yeah. Unheard of. Absolutely
Wow.
unheard of. And
Malaysia, you are
catastrophic.
not alone.
No, Malaysia is not alone. So these are their quarterly similar data to before. We can see the population growth from 2018 was 76,000 down to 45,000. And 2025 has preliminary initial data has lowest births on record in the first 2 quarters of 2025. So the situation is getting worse.
And again, friends, it's so clear. I mean, just look at the scale on the bottom. You see where 2020 ends and where 2021 begins. That's the beginning of the shots, beginning of 2021. And if you just draw a
Yeah.
vertical line and look, what you see is, boy, consistently more dying ever since then, and pretty consistently less being born ever since then, with now record low numbers. I mean, this is a very repeated pattern around the world, Sally.
Yes, it is. It is a repeated pattern. This is maternal mortality. This is maternal mortality per 100,000 live births in Malaysia. And we see over time, this is from 2000 up to 2024, we see generally declining patterns of maternal mortality. 2020, it's still, it's not that high. It's probably lower than the past, but 2021 jab rollout, we now see a massive spike, nearly 3 times the usual maternal mortality.
Wow. Translation, injecting pregnant women occurred at
Kills
a
them.
time when 3 times as many women as normal died during pregnancy or birth. 3 times normal, unprecedented numbers.
Yeah, and catastrophic. I don't know why the doctors could have closed their eyes to this.
Well, I want to put a shout out right here to Dr. Mel Bruchette, Dr. Daniel Nagase of British Columbia, because when the miscarriages and spontaneous abortions and stillbirths started ramping up in BC, Dr. Bruchette in his 80s went and stood out front of the hospital and protested and became really the victim of a very severe campaign, which ended up with him locked up in a psychiatric unit, being injected against his will with psychiatric medications that are dangerous for old people. So thank you, Dr. Bruchette. You tried to stop this, and we really respect you.
Yeah, not enough people tried to stop. So yeah, this is just the natural increase from 2000 to 2024. We've had nearly a halving of population increase.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Again, there's that 2021. 2021 hits, the shots roll out. Never mind 2020 and the virus. More dying, less birth.
Yeah.
More dying, less birth.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere. We sound like a broken record, but it's important for people to see that this is a uniform pattern across every country. And this data is independently collected from each country's own statistics departments.
Yeah. And again, this is despite we know a fair bit of degree of massaging the data to obfuscate harm. So I think what we're seeing, it's clear, it's obvious, it's absolutely real, but it's probably worse than what we're seeing here.
Yes, it could be worse. I think particularly the 2021 data might be truncated.
Yes.
I know it was truncated in the Philippines. I have evidence of that, but that same thing could have happened in other countries where they don't want to reveal how many people had actually been killed.
Yeah.
So this one is interesting. This is registered deaths by age of person dying from 2019 to 2024. The 2020 the green, second green line, we see that deaths went down in most groups, actually in all groups in Malaysia. Deaths
That's
went
key.
down, meaning,
Yeah, friends, please forgive me, Sally. Please make sure you're understanding this graph. Look at the legend at the bottom, right? So each of these collections of bars is for an age group. Each color in
over
that age
time.
group is the year. The green one, which is the second one from the left in each age group, is 2020, the year of the deadly virus that was used to herd everyone to the shot. And look at it. Almost every group, 2020 was less dying than all the other years. Then comes 2021, the blue one, and look at the massive spike in dying in almost every single age group. And every year after that, once again, more people are dying, folks, since the rollout of the jabs.
Yeah, Malaysia didn't inject children until 2022. And if you look at the pediatric deaths, I think they
Oh,
didn't inject children younger than 5 years of age in Malaysia, but we still have younger children dying. In 2022, it's when we see the rise in pediatric deaths that we didn't see significantly in 2021.
oh, that's a nuance I wasn't aware of when I looked at this earlier, that they
Yeah,
didn't start ejecting the young ones until
until
2022, and then they got some
2022.
dying too.
Then they got them dying too. And it's particularly notable in the older age groups. 2021, the step changes in deaths across all of the older age groups. But even among younger age groups, this is from 35 up, you can see the step change in deaths. Now, we don't expect people in their 30s to die. Really, we don't in the modern world. But
No.
now they are dying at higher than normal rates. You usually expect them, accidents. Accidents is the main reason you would expect young people to die in the past. Yeah,
There's a
so
lot of it
very,
around, friends. If you haven't noticed, I think you have, but just start looking around and asking questions. Sally, I visited a friend, a nice fellow, and we're talking more about 2 years ago now, and he came and he said, "Hey, Mark, you warned everybody about the shots, and I agree. I didn't take them. I didn't give them to my kids, but seems like everybody's fine. Like people aren't dying." And I said, "Are you sure about that?" He goes, "Yeah, I don't know anyone who's dying." And his wife, who was there, immediately said, "Oh, but what about our 35-year-old friend who had the stroke and then died? Oh, what about our 37-year-old friend that just had a heart attack? Oh, what about our 41-year-old with four?" And the truth was, it was right in front of them, all kinds of young people sick and dying. And somehow the hypnosis, he was actually
yeah,
ignoring what was in front of him, unless his wife pointed out and said, "No, look, what he's saying really is happening."
yeah. It is all around us. You just have to open your eyes, and it's on the media because there's so many deaths of celebrities being reported in the
Yeah,
media.
yeah.
So, you might not know them personally, but it's definitely happening. And one other interesting I would like to point out for the 85 plus age group, look at the mortality. We had a big spike in mortality in 2021, but the deaths have been going up dramatically since then. They're even higher than 2021, meaning that older people are far more vulnerable to dying than they were in the past.
No,
So
friends, it's important to get your children and yourselves around a table, around the fire with your elders before the accelerated dementia from the spikeopathy and, of course, the accelerated dying cuts us off from their wisdom because we're losing them quick.
yeah, that's a very important point because as we lose, I mean, even the not so old elderly are dying in great excess. So we're losing their knowledge, we're losing their skills, and we're losing our history. So it's incredibly important to connect with the elderly people in your life and really learn from them and really talk from them and really mine them for their knowledge and thoughts and experiences. I
Yes.
mean, that will add to their quality of life and it will dramatically enrich yours.